Hey everybody, it's Megan and I am back to give you 2 more book reviews. Today I'll be reviewing Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver and Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. And to make sure you don't miss any other reviews, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. First up today, we're going to talk about Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver. And I don't know about you guys, but this is one of my most anticipated books of 2025. This is the 3rd book in the Butcher and Blackbird series, so if you have not read the first 2, you should, because they are so good. They are all interdependent. The characters cross each other, but you don't have to read the first 2 to read the 3rd one, but really read them in order because it's better that way. However, let's talk about our 3rd book. It's our 3rd brother, and we have Rose, who is our lead female serial killer, and she is the defender of women, basically. If she sees a woman in a really shitty relationship or being treated poorly, she will go after that boyfriend, husband, whatever. Because if you remember, our serial killers in these stories are kind of Robin Hood serial killers, I guess you could say. They tend to kill other serial killers. They tend to kill bad people. So you kind of are endeared to them even though they're serial killers. So Rose works for a circus, and she sees a woman come through. She does like fortune telling, and she sees this woman's husband and is like, this guy is a big ass dick and he needs to go because he's clearly abusive. So she kind of like follows, figures out where they live, and she goes to go attack him, and it doesn't go as planned. She ends up injured. He doesn't know who she is because she had a motorcycle helmet on, and she ends up finding her way to the small town clinic to try to get some drugs because she's in a lot of pain and hurting, and that is where we meet Finn. So Finn is the 3rd brother, and he seems to be like the good brother, right? He is the doctor. He's not the one running around killing people, and he knows when he sees her like something's up. So he is a doctor, like I said, so he kind of helps her, takes her to the hospital, gets her legs set and all those kind of things, and really just falls for her. I would say it's a he falls first kind of situation. She definitely is not trying to fall for him. He definitely falls for her first. Now the big problem is she is in town with a broken leg, and she's staying with him because she has nowhere else to stay. She can't continue on with the circus. He kind of decides, hey, maybe if she sticks around, that'll be good for me, good for her. And it's really hard to hide in a small town. If you've never lived in a small town, you don't understand how small it can be. So the guy that she attacked, even though he lives outside of town, kind of resurfaces, and he's like, that's weird. You're new in town with a broken leg. But he can't really admit to like beating this person up because then it would mean like he would get found out. So while she's at the hospital, she meets one of the nurses who also has a shit-tastic boyfriend. And she decides that he got to go because that is her stick. So she comes kind of up with this plan and confronts him in his car and is going to kill him. Well, it does not go as planned, which seems to be a pattern for her, quite honestly. She's not very good at this, like, vigilante killer thing. So she has to call Finn because she's, like, stuck. And I have a lot of questions about where they hide this car. And I'm picturing, like, a little creek bed that they push this car into. But it must not be, because it, like, conceals the car. Like, the car is deep enough in water that it conceals the car. So I have questions. I need a visual, please, from Brynne Weaver. And my friends and I all talked about it. We all had, like, different visions of what this field that she was in this ditch slash ravine that they pushed this car into in the middle of a field. But I don't know, maybe see what you think when you read it. But basically, the story just follows their love life and their trying to find out if they like each other. Can they really date? He really tries to keep a distance from his brothers, who are both serial killers. One is more of a serial killer, one's more of like a hired hitman, but still, he's trying to stay on the straight and narrow. And he has a lot of past trauma with his father and his brothers and trying to work through that. And he's really trying to be like the good guy. And Rose is making that really hard for him because she is on her vigilante killing spree. Come a point where his brother's boss, the mob boss, hitman hiring kind of guy, has to help them because they get themselves in a bit of a pickle at the circus, and the only way that he knows how to clean it up is to call this guy. So he ends up having to kind of work for him for a little while, which does make things interesting for their relationship. And I do love when the characters from the first two books cross in this one. It's fun to kind of see where they are and realize that the timeline of the stories and how this one was happening across both books, kind of in parallel. I always enjoy little like hints of other characters in the universe as you go through a book, and it was really awesome. I gave this book 4 hot chocolates because, as a reminder, I am reading with hot chocolate, so I don't rate in stars, I rate in hot chocolates. So I gave this book 4 hot chocolates. And I really enjoyed it. It did not disappoint. And she actually just announced her next series coming out, I think, in September. And it's going to be, I think, the viewpoint of one of the girlfriends of one of the murdered guys from the first book, from Butcher and Blackbird, was my impression that I got from the end of this book when she gave you kind of like a hint of who was to come next. So I'm really excited. True crime girlies, you've probably already been all over this book series because it is fantastic. One of my favorite parts of this series is the trigger warnings at the front. Some of them are legit. Some are very much, you know, this is going to be discussed. This is going to be happening. If you don't want this, then this is not the book for you. Some of them are things like cotton candy or pizza or resin and arts and crafts. Some of those were from the other books too. But the trigger warnings are always a fun way to start these books because, like I said, some of them are very serious and like people need to know about. Some of them you kind of go, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to make me hate cookies and cream ice cream? If you know, you know. So I highly recommend you check out Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver. And Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark are the first two. They are extremely flawed characters, but they're still lovable, which is what makes them so great. I don't like characters that are so flawed that they have no redeeming qualities. These characters make you love them, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the next series because I'm sure that these characters are going to reappear in some kind of way, some kind of capacity. So, speaking of most anticipated books of the year, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins was for sure my highest priority of books for 2025, and it did not disappoint. I gave this 5 hot chocolates straight away. As soon as I finished it, I was just like, I wanted to start it over like I've never read it before. So, for those who don't know, this is a prequel to the original Hunger Games series, and it focuses on Haymitch. We meet Haymitch in the original Hunger Games. He is Katniss's mentor because he is the only surviving District 12 champion of the Hunger Games. This book is about Haymitch's Hunger Games. So you know already, there is gonna be a lot of drama that comes our way. And it kicks off straight away with it. So this book comes after Songbirds and before the next Hunger Games. So that kind of gives you an idea. So if you remember Lucy Baird and Snow and all that in the original, and then other prequel. So Haymitch, Reaping Day is always on his birthday. What a shit birthday. Let's just be real about that for a minute. And we weren't sure how Haymitch ended up in the Hunger Games, and then we found out. And it's basically because he went to defend others and got reaped by punishment, basically. And so he has his best girlfriend. We'll call her name is Lenore Dove. And we should point out that the Covey, which is where we met Lucy Gray, like to use colors. So the dove was definitely there to make you think of the bird and then what color the bird is and then link you kind of back to Lucy Gray. We don't know what the connection is between the two, but we know there is a connection. We know they're both Covey, and that is all we need to know right now. And they'll let the theories expound. And so Haymitch is off to the Hunger Games, and what is even worse is that they took 4 kids from each district. for this Hunger Games. And you just know. You know it's going to be bad. We already know that Snow is in charge, and Snow hates District 12 with a fiery, fiery passion because I've decided that District 12 really just exists to fuck up Snow's day at this point. Like, that is why we have District 12 still, because they will taunt him for the rest of his life. And I also think Suzanne Collins was getting revenge on us a little bit because she saw those thirst traps we made for young Snow, and every time we made a thirst trap, she was like, more trauma for Hamish, more trauma for Hamish. So this is probably our fault, guys. It's our fault, but it's fine. We still hate Snow, but he's not young Snow anymore, maybe. I don't know, we'll see who they cast, I guess. Stop casting villains as hot guys, and then we won't like them. Anyway, back to the books. In the original Hunger Games that they do like a big parade with all the tributes, and Hamish's goes wrong really quickly, and one of the District 12 tributes is killed before the games even start, and he picks up her body off the ground and delivers it to Snow's front door. Boss move. I love this for Hamish. I also love this for Snow. However, Snow doesn't play, and he goes and kidnaps somebody else or reaps them illegally or whatever to replace Luella and make her like an automaton, basically, of Luella. And so they call her Lulu because they refuse to use her real name because it's not the right person. So we know really early that she's not gonna make it. Whoever this mystery child is, probably not gonna make it. We also know that Hamish is in the original series, so obviously Hamish gets out of these Hunger Games in some capacity, but we just have to figure out how. And if he manages to get anybody else out with him, because in other Hunger Games, that has happened. But the arena is insane. It has like a volcano, but the lava's not hot. It's cold, kind of, I got the impression. You will never look at squirrels the same way ever again. No. Squirrels, we thought they were evil before. They are now more than evil. Truly, like, I have seen several since I read this book, and I went, you stay over there. I don't trust you. They are not just throwing acorns at your head anymore. They may be ravenous. Can't really tell you all the amazing things without giving you spoilers, and I don't know how people feel about spoilers. I know people give spoiler reviews now on YouTube and things, but I just feel like some of these are just too damn good to give you a spoiler. Milk and bread plays an important part in Hamish's story, and also avoid gumdrops. That's my best advice to you if you are friends with Hamish. Avoid red gumdrops at all cost. This book just like, I can't even wrap. I wish I could like erase my memory of reading it and reread it again for the first time because it was that good. And I need to reread it because I'm sure there are more Easter eggs. I would actually really like to read all 5 of the books and really connect all the things together because I'm sure there's so many. But this book did not disappoint. We do get the movie here shortly. I think next year. I think it's next year. They're doing the movie. It's already cast and everything. They're already filming. And I cannot wait to see who gets cast and how it compares. I don't know how they're going to do this and not make it a rated R movie and do it well. So we will see. It'll probably be PG-13, which means there's going to be a lot of stuff that gets cut. But hopefully it goes awesome. And you just reading it, you just like the Easter eggs are everywhere. Like there's references to Katniss, but it's talking about the plant. Obviously there's references to Lucy Gray and the Covey because Snow can't let that go and all kinds of other things. So definitely check it out. It was so good. So good. And Suzanne Collins, you are a genius. If you have had this all mapped out since you wrote the original 3 books, like, I want to be in this brain. Like, I just want to be up here and know what you know. And I don't know if we're getting a 3rd prequel. We better. Can we please get a 3rd prequel? Pretty please. I'm sure we will, right? She's like, can't do a duology after you already did a trilogy. You've got to have a trilogy. I don't know. We'll find out. But like I said, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, 5 hot chocolates, and I wish I could tell you all the things, but I don't want to give spoilers. I hate spoilers. I hate when I'm watching someone review a book and they give spoilers. So I'm trying really hard not to give you spoilers with too much context. If you want spoiler videos, please let me know in the comments because I will happily give all the spoilers. I just don't like to without lots of forewarning that it's spoilers. So, two great books that I read, two of my most anticipated books. So I am so happy they did not disappoint. There's nothing worse than when you're hyped about a book and then you're really disappointed in it. That was not the case with either of these. So I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching my reviews, and if you want to stay up to date on all things happening on my channel, from book reviews to bookshop tours and everything in between, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss an update.